This idea that the left is now the most violent group in America, all this political, you have to admire the right, Prem. Their message discipline is second to none. If only the Democrats, if only liberals, if only progressives had that kind of message discipline. They fill the zone, they fill the vacuum, they flood the zone. Ever since the shooting of Charlie Kirk, they have had one singular message, that all the violence in the US is from the left, left-wing terrorists, Antifa, domestic terrorists, and it's all, to go back to the NSPM and the executive orders, it's all part of one plan to criminalize opposition to this government. It is insane how unhinged the rhetoric is about left-wing violence when all the studies show the exact opposite. In fact, Axios ran a study at the weekend that went viral, and the Deputy White House Press Secretary shared it. And they're all sharing, which said, the headline was, left-wing terrorism at highest point for 30 years. And then they're all sharing the graph. And the graph shows that right-wing terrorism is much higher every single one of those years, except this year. And even this year, the left-wing terrorism is much, much lower than every previous year of right-wing terrorism. So the whole thing is absurd. Even when they spin these statistics to try and make the left look bad, the graph, to anyone with two eyes, can see it's right-wing terrorism that's been the problem, as every study shows. Zeteo, we at Zeteo published a piece with all the studies and links. Check it out at Zeteo.com, showing that the violence is from the right. At the weekend, Prem, we saw a bunch of mass shootings. I can't even keep track of which mass shooting, but the one that caught everyone's eye was this horrific attack on the church, the Mormon church in Michigan. And the guy they've arrested for that, the alleged suspect, it's weird because I was out Sunday and I saw this shooting, and then I looked at my Twitter and I saw JD Vance say thoughts and prayers. I saw Kash Patel saying we're sending an investigation. Weirdly, they didn't say anything about the political identity or ethnic background of the shooter. That's weird, because that's what they've been doing nonstop for the last few weeks. Why would they not do that in this case? Could it possibly be because the shooter is not trans, is not an immigrant, is not a Mexican, is not a Muslim, is not a leftist? And hey presto, turns out that the alleged shooter is a Trump supporter, a Trump voter with a Trump Vance sign on his home, allegedly. Yeah, so it's the Family Guy meme. For those of you who know the Family Guy meme with the chart of colors, it is kind of brown guy terrorist, white guy mentally ill. So this guy, the right are not talking about it. Laura Loomer's not posting about him because he's a white Christian. I think he's a hunter. There's a picture of him wearing a liberal, Cry Liberals t-shirt. So suddenly, we're not talking about right-wing political violence anymore. And by the way, I just want to be clear. I'm not saying he was motivated by support for Trump or that he's a right-wing terrorist. I'm just saying by the rules established by the right, which is anyone who's ever had any links to the left is automatically the responsibility of the left, well, then they're responsible for the shooting in Michigan.